Welcome to States and Kingdoms. Jenna here.
Sean here.
So you've heard of those big bands, the big classic rock bands like the Beatles, the Stones, Led Zeppelin.
I have.
What about those bands that are flying completely under the radar? Some of the best rock and roll you can find is on Spotify with less than 100,000 followers. So we did part 1 of this video. We already talked about bands like Blue Cheer, we talked about Mission to Burma, Judy Sill, Faust. Now we have another set of amazing bands that you might not have heard. So let's check out another batch of bands that are criminally underrated and worthy of being added to your playlist.
Hit that gong. Nas.
Nas. Ugh, I love Nas.
Todd Rundgren's first band.
Mm-hmm.
They released their first album in 1968. Very guitar driven. It has the first version of Hello It's Me, much slower version, which I prefer.
I love it.
I do prefer that version.
Love that song.
There's some great songs on the first album, and they have 2 more records that are quite different, as Todd Rundgren developed as a songwriter and was always went his own way.
They get really interesting. You know, the first album is very, like pop song structured.
Cream
Yeah.
type
You know,
sounding.
it fits the time. The great melodies, great harmonies,
Yeah.
just really, really good songs I think would surprise people.
And he started listening to like Laura Nyro and people like that, and you do hear that coming through in the next albums.
Yeah, they get really interesting.
If you like late 60s fuzzy guitar rock and roll, you'll like the first Nas record. Pretty sure. It's great. Gong. Jellyfish. Yeah, we recently did a video reacting to the second Jellyfish album, which has been in the family for generations,
Yeah.
but we had managed to never listen to.
I had that CD for a long time.
And we included it in a video where you said that you listened to it, it didn't grab you, and you hadn't listened to it again.
Never gave it another
So
chance.
we did a video, we did a reaction, and found that we really like it.
Yeah, we actually really like it.
And,
It's actually really great. Like those people told me that I shunned.
the phrase "ahead of their time" is often thrown around. It's bandied about more than it needs to be. But I do think they were at least 3 years ahead of their time.
Yeah.
Going by the second album, it was definitely, I'd say, about 3 years ahead of its time. The first album would be obviously even more. It's just such a wonderful mix of 60s and 70s sounds. The styles are blended together to such an extent that it really sounds like a 70s band
It's got
or
touch of the
60s
80s.
band.
Just a
Sure,
touch.
well, depends on which kind of XTC you listen to. But we used to have like Stone Temple Pilots, where they really sounded just like a 70s rock band in the 90s. Like there were some bands like that.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like that, like a
Yeah.
late 60s band that just happened to have been playing in the 90s.
It's so good. It's so good.
They're really
Just like complicated songs.
Very
The songs
intricate
are
songs.
like really dynamic and complex and so many layers, and it's just it's delightful. Always wondering why they stopped, when they did, instead of pressing on, trying to make one more record, or at least keep touring, keep doing stuff. It's really a shame.
Snapcase.
This is one I have a lot to say about.
No, you have nothing to say about it. Snapcase is on, and I'll put it up on screen because I don't totally remember what it was. But they're described as like hard emo core now or something like.
Oh God.
Like.
The genres.
It's something like that. But back then it was just New York hardcore, really, or hardcore. The last video we were talking about Vision of Disorder and how some of the New York hardcore bands are actually kind of underrepresented on Spotify, and unlike a lot of heavy metal stuff, which has a fair amount of followers for even bands that I would consider to be a little bit more obscure, they actually do have over 100, 200,000.
Metal gets that kind of fandom.
They have a strong community. But for whatever reason, like some of these bands, and you know what, I'll just include another one, Earth Crisis. I was, both of these bands.
I know the names.
And I mean, this brings me back to the mid '90s. I remember the Earth Crisis album from '95 and Snapcase's album in '97. These were formative things.
You listen to wearing your big jeans.
No, I wasn't even wearing those yet. This was 95 and 97. I didn't get my big jeans
97,
until 98.
Sorry. I think I had my big jeans in 97.
No, 97 I had corduroy jeans.
You were going through your phases.
Yeah, whatever. Gong. Sugar.
Bumble
And-
from Husker Du, of course.
Yes, sorry, Bubble from Husker Du. I didn't think I had to say that.
You probably don't. They probably know, but I just want to.
How dare you, sir?
I just want to be clear. I'm not assuming that they don't know.
Okay. I love Husker Du. I do.
Me too.
But there are some quirks, in the guitar sound and sometimes the production for them. And, the first Sugar album, I mean, the guitar sound is fantastic. And, I really enjoy hearing him.
Sounding good.
Well, I wouldn't put it that way. But you would.
I never hear, it's terrible. I never hear the things you hear in the production and the tone. My ear just isn't attuned to those things. I mean,
Yeah.
a little more so now.
What?
I can listen to stuff that has bad production, or I have no problem with bad guitar sounds. I find, I just listen to the songs, I like melodies and, interesting chord progressions.
Fuck you.
Good rhythms.
All right.
Okay, I'm done. Sugar's great.
It is. It's some great stuff that he did after Husker Du, really. And it's still doing. Not with Sugar, but just him.
He's touring. He's touring right now.
I know.
Yeah.
Gong. Shellac.
Mr. Al Beanie.
I think on the last video, we kept saying, I'm so surprised that this has so few. It's so surprising that this is so few. This is one of the few on here that I actually am surprised.
I'm surprised.
It's just under 100,000. I listen to Shellac a lot more than Steve Albini's other group, Big Black, which is before Shellac.
Mm.
So I figured I'd include Shellac, but Big Black actually has fewer followers. And but I love Shellac. I love Bob Weston is incredible. And you asked me what's like the closest thing. What would be the closest thing to Shellac? Mm-hmm. And I guess Fugazi.
Yeah.
I guess if I were to try to describe if other people have heard Fugazi, I guess I would say if you've heard Fugazi, it's kind of in that ballpark.
For sure.
They have definite differences, and also it's got a little bit of that kind of slintiness, that June 44-iness.
It does.
That I really love.
It's got edges. I've known the name Steve Albini for a really long time. I've been aware of him, aware of his work producing, and I always considered him to be known and have a level of notoriety that would.
Yeah.
So my point is that would lead me to believe that Shellac would have more people listening.
As they should.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even talking about Steve Albini as producer, in which case he is a monumental figure in alternative rock, just what I would just call rock.
Right.
Whatever, but
Math, hard,
but Shellac is
emo, rock.
Shellac is great.
Yeah.
Gong.
How dare you?
The Devil Dogs. Remember the Devil Dogs?
I do. I remember when you were listening to the Devil Dogs.
The Devil Dogs are just like punk rock and roll. There's a certain just energy and attitude. I mean, it's probably not for everybody. I mean, even for me, I like my, how do you put this? My like rock and roll to be a little bit less punky.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Some like the New Bomb Turks, which I also really like and could also be on this list. I found them going through all like the garage rock people of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
People, obviously the Gories or Oblivions.
You were
John
downloading.
Spencer, in some form or other, among many, many others. The Revelators, there's so many. The Devil Dogs are from New York, which is just, I was kind of compiling New York bands at some point.
Yeah, there's a familiarity.
And I still, when I hear their version of Be True to Your School, I don't usually like things like that. They taking something, especially Beach Boys, and making it kind of crass. but somehow it's so good. The attitude just works so well in that song. Yeah, the Devil Dogs, they're a lot of fun. It's really good rock and roll. So
Yeah, don't overcomplicate it.
Gong. Silver Apples. Silver Apples is, to me, it could be the biggest deal on this list.
You just said don't say that they were ahead of their time, but they were, because who sounded like that? I mean, it's ridiculous that they sound like that then.
Yeah.
I think if you played Silver Apples for most people and said, when do you think this is from? They'd be like, late 80s.
The only way you could pinpoint when it was from, if you know nothing about like synthesizers, so you're like, you recognize that it's not a complex synthesizer, you know,
Right.
Maybe then you'd know
It's a
that
Prophet
it's
Million.
early. Is that a Prophet 15? It's got polyphony. But the vocal has a definite
Timestamp. It's got that folkiness. Yeah.
But other than that, no, absolutely.
The music.
They were first.
Yeah.
Really. And, you know, we grew up listening to a ton of electronic music. You know, as we've mentioned many times, we listened to, you know, Tangerine Dream was on a lot and a lot of other things. But I'd never heard of Silver Apples until way, way, way later. And I was just really blown away by how innovative, how creative it was. And, you know, it's more techno-y than anything.
It's very atmospheric, very rhythmic.
Yeah.
You know, almost hypnotic at times. Very, very interesting.
Gong. The Volcano Suns. The Volcano Suns.
The Volcano Suns.
Pete Prescott, the drummer for Mission of Burma, his band after Mission of Burma. I'm a huge Mission of Burma fan.
I'm also a huge fan. I discovered Mission of Burma through you. Thank you.
Obviously, it's wonderful that Mission of Burma got back together, and they did put out. I love the albums they put out when they got back together.
They're great.
But after that, I do have some of Roger Miller's solo records, which aren't everywhere. You know,
They sure aren't.
You don't find them that often. I don't think they're in the greatest demand.
Yeah.
Really. But you know, obviously those are very Mission of Burma-y. But other than those, you know, the Volcano Suns have, you know, that fascinating thing when you have a great band of like three people. They all write songs, they all sing, and they all contribute to the sound. You pull them apart, and somehow the sound is still there.
Yeah.
So you know, cool. The Bright Orange Years is you know, is a great album, and that's where obviously you should start. It's the first album.
Yeah.
Pete Prescott's a great drummer, and I like his voice. I like them a lot. They really have a very low amount of followers.
Yes, they do, considering how great they are. But yeah, Pete Prescott is such a good drummer, and you get a sense of just how important the drumming is to Mission Burma's sound.
Well, certainly.
When you hear Volcano Suns, especially, because it's the same. It's got the same energy, and it's just like...
It just doesn't have the Bartok.
Forceful, yeah. Yeah, really good.
Gong. The Dictators. This one also did surprise me a little bit. In my head, the Dictators are a really big deal. At least they told me they were. It's amazing that there are people I haven't heard of them.
Well, I always knew of Manitoba's, the bar in the village.
Right.
And I'd been there a bunch of times, and I thought that it was pretty cool. And I also thought other people knew that he had been in a band and then opened a bar. But considering how few people watched the video we did about the Dictators on this very channel.
Yeah, we should do a video about underappreciated videos we've done. We can include that one. And probably this one. Yeah.
So, you know, there you go. There you go. Few followers. And...
The Dictators were amazing. You know, they're the humor, but the music is amazing, fantastic. It sounds like Phil Silvers.
Yeah.
I really love... The first album's great. I mean, you can listen to that over and over again. It never loses its energy and its humor. I really love Manifest Destiny. It's probably the least aggressive of their albums. I always thought of them almost like an East Coast Van Halen. I know people would think that's crazy. And it's not just because they're totally Jewish and Van Halen is only 1/4 Jewish,
1/4.
unless the Van Halens are hiding something.
Van Halenberg.
But the kind of the very rock and roll, the sense of humor of it, they're pretty bouncy.
Yeah, it's just great songs.
Yeah, they're
It's
smart
great
asses.
songs. It's like that area of music that's like punky attitude, but still like melodic and like well crafted songs. So it's not simplistic. They're just good rock and roll.
The punkiness is a little bit overemphasized, I think.
The punkiness comes from the time, I think.
Yeah.
More than anything else.
I mean, they're a real 70s rock band. The Dictators, have a wonderful humor. It's not, hello mudda, hello fada, it's not like that. Well, a little bit. They're a little Alan Sherman-y.
Yeah. Say more stuff that no one's gonna know what you're talking about.
Gong? The Groundhogs.
This is an interesting one because I am not as familiar with this band as you are. And when I listen to them, they, again, very, very unique sound. I mean, definitely 70s, but...
Late 67, yeah.
Yeah, but I would have said they skewed later than they did. I think they sound very forward.
Well, I think they do avoid some of the kind of, I guess you could say, cliches of like 70s rock in a way. Like there's something very intimate about them to me.
Yes.
There's something, I mean, the vocal's always very upfront. There's not like a ton of reverb on it.
No,
There's no attempt to make it sound grander than it is.
It's got a pensive quality. There's I picture them thinking a lot. They're a thoughtful band. But also, and I know this sounds funny, but they don't sound English to me.
Yeah, I can.
If you asked me to tell you if they were American or English, I would have guessed American. And I'm not sure why exactly, but I'm usually pretty good at picking out an English band.
They say, like, get me Rock Tree and Doris Dog.
Yeah. There's something in the delivery.
Yeah. All right.
It's something in the way that they present themselves. They're presenting themselves.
Well, yeah, that must be it. Gong? The Red Crayola. The Red Crayola are a very interesting group. And, of course, see, on Spotify, they're actually split because they had to change their name from a Crayola with a C to a Crayola with a K.
Right.
Because of Fred Crayola was very upset.
Yeah.
The owner of Fred Crayola's Delicatessen and...
Right.
Whatever. Anyway, Robert Crayola, his famous blues player. If you start with the Parable of Arable Land, did I say that? The Parable of Arable Land from 1967. It's a great place to start, really, and some of that is very, very interesting. And
again, very innovative.
When I first heard, a Hurricane fighter plane, I really thought I don't think I knew when it was from, and I just assumed it was like late 70s. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know what you say about it. A kind of collective that,
Great sound.
around for a long time in various forms. But, when you listen to the early stuff, yeah, it's pretty extraordinary. And I think still inspiring. And that leads us to the next one, actually, because they're kind of connected. Gong? Pere Ubu. This is kind of damning. Pere Ubu does not have anywhere near 100,000 followers on Spotify. I don't know how that's possible. Pere Ubu is one of the more influential groups over the last 50 years. I think most musicians that were around at that time, they certainly listened to them, and the modern dance is an absolute classic.
No, that's a name. I mean, Pere Ubu is a name. It should have more listeners. No question.
That single, with Heart of Darkness and 30 Seconds Over Tokyo is incredible. And, for when that was put out, the amount of people that must have heard that, that were influenced by it, not everyone's always talking about it, but that's an incredible 2 songs, just still awesome. Gong. Flipper. This is another one. I don't want to feign surprise, but this is a band that has gotten a lot of plugs in the last 40 years from Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
But also Buzz Osborne, which is actually how I heard of them, was through Buzz Osborne. He talks about them all the time. Chris Novoselic played with them for a time. They have been shouted out for a while. So for them to have
a minuscule amount of followers,
fewer than some of the other punk bands of the time, I thought it was very interesting. They have an approach that sort of feels more like some of the English groups from that time. The early 80s, rather than, West Coast like punk, or even like the No New York type, no wave bands.
Yeah.
Listen to them live, and I feel like there are people who are going to hear nothing in it. And sometimes I feel like I might be one of those people. It's hard to explain, but they are very interesting. It's definitely worth listening to.
It's worth listening to, for sure.
Gong. Mars.
Very, very unique band.
They were on the No New York compilation that Brian Eno did, and they put out, an album, 78 Plus. It's on Spotify, but I had a lot of trouble finding it on Spotify.
You have to put in the correct configuration.
I actually put in 78 Plus, and then it came up. If you put up Mars, just Mars doesn't really do it.
Weird.
And it's like Bruno Mars, and like everything you don't want. It's exactly, I have to say, Mars is like exactly what you'd expect. Of like strange rhythms and dissonance and
sort of ambient, sort of.
I have a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's just it's sort of, I don't know. When I was a kid listening to like death metal, and like I wanted
nonstop aggression,
very clangy, aggressive stuff and whatnot. This kind of scratches the same itch, but in a much more intellectual way.
Yeah, it's for the older
little
death
artsier.
metal.
Yeah.
So how many of these bands do you know already? I hope you check them out. If you don't, let us know in the comments what you think of some of these bands. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Stacey Kingdoms, and we will see you next time.